Subscribe for more.
I never imagined my life would reach a point where the person I trusted most could betray me so completely. My name is Ethan. I'm 39, and I've been married to Harper for 12 years. On paper, we had it all. A beautiful home in suburban Connecticut, 2 kids, and what I thought was a stable marriage built on mutual respect and shared responsibilities. I wasn't naive. I knew marriages have ups and downs, and I thought we had weathered enough storms to prove ours was solid. But nothing prepares you for the moment when you discover that the woman you loved, the mother of your children, could cross a line that shatters your world in ways you never imagined. It started innocuously enough. Harper had been distant for a few months, coming home late, spending long hours on her phone, and brushing off my attempts to talk about our day or share a quiet dinner together. I told myself it was stress from work, that her new responsibilities at the hospital were taking a toll, or that maybe she just needed space. I stayed patient. I cooked dinner, helped with the kids, and tried to engage her in small ways. A compliment, a hand on her shoulder, a quiet, "How was your day?" Only to be met with indifference, sometimes even irritation. I held on to hope because that's what you do when you love someone. You make excuses. You convince yourself that they're just going through something, and eventually, things will return to normal. The first concrete sign came when I found a hotel receipt tucked into the glove compartment of our SUV. My stomach sank, but I tried to dismiss it. Maybe a work event. Maybe a friend borrowed the car. I even rationalized that Harper wouldn't do something like that, not after 12 years together. But the feeling of unease lingered, gnawing at me. Then came the text messages I accidentally saw while reaching for the grocery list on her phone. They were explicit, unmistakable, and with a man I didn't recognize. Shock froze me in place. My mind raced, trying to make sense of something that didn't make sense. The person I had trusted above all else was betraying me in a way that cut deeper than any argument or misunderstanding ever could. I confronted Harper one evening after putting the kids to bed. I stayed calm, controlled, because that's the only way I could process the pain without it consuming me. I simply asked, "Harper, is there someone else?" She froze, and for a split second, I saw hesitation in her eyes. Then came the confession, casual and unembellished, like she was telling me the weather. She had been seeing Liam, a colleague from the hospital, for several months. The words hung in the air. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just listened. My heart felt like it was sinking piece by piece. 2 days later, Harper was hospitalized after a minor car accident. Nothing life-threatening, thank God, but enough to send the entire family into panic. My parents and siblings rushed in, surrounding her bedside, urging me to forgive, to forget, to move on. "Ethan," my father said, his voice tight with emotion, "she's hurt, and this is the moment to be compassionate. Marriages survive these things when people make mistakes." My brother nodded in agreement. "She's scared. She needs you." Even the kids were bewildered, whispering, "Mommy's sick. Is she okay?" Their innocence weighed on me more than anything else. I sat in the hospital room, watching Harper sleep under the fluorescent lights, and my heart refused to comply with what everyone else expected. Forgiveness wasn't coming naturally, nor was it something I could force. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair. It was about the deception, the erosion of trust, the years spent believing we were partners, only to realize that in secret, she had chosen someone else. I remembered every small moment of distance, every cold shoulder, every night she spent scrolling on her phone instead of sharing ours. It all came rushing back in vivid clarity. Harper woke up briefly and smiled weakly at me, clearly expecting some gesture of reconciliation. I met her gaze evenly, my voice calm but firm. "I know what you did," I said. "I know about Liam, and right now, I can't pretend that I'm okay with it." She tried to speak, to offer excuses or explanations, but I held up a hand. Not in anger, but in finality. I needed to establish a line she had already crossed. The room felt impossibly small, my chest tight, yet my mind was clearer than it had been in months. Over the next 24 hours, I made decisions quietly, deliberately. I moved her things into a single corner of our home when she was resting. I contacted our attorney to discuss temporary arrangements, and I told myself repeatedly, I am not the villain here. I am the man who values respect, honesty, and boundaries. Every action I took was measured, devoid of drama, devoid of theatrics. I wasn't acting for anyone else's approval. I was reclaiming my own sense of self. The turning point came one evening when Harper tried to appeal to my emotions, mentioning the kids, the years together, the memories we shared. I acknowledged them, but I didn't falter. I didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me break or plead. I simply said, those years were ours, but they don't erase what's been done. I need space. I need clarity. And I can't give you that until trust is rebuilt, if it ever can be. She looked stunned, perhaps expecting more emotion, more weakness, and in that moment, I felt a strange sense of liberation. Not joy, not triumph, but the quiet relief that comes when you finally stop bending yourself to someone who no longer respects you. Days turned into weeks. Family continued to pressure me, some expressing confusion, others genuine concern. I listened politely, but I didn't compromise my stance. I spent time with the children, focused on work, and slowly, a rhythm emerged. The betrayal still stung, but my clarity sharpened. Every day, I reaffirmed the boundary I had set. The hospital visit became a turning point not for reconciliation, but for recognition of truth. The man I once was, patient, accommodating, willing to overlook the cracks, was now a man who understood the value of self-respect above all else. Harper attempted to reach out through text, soft apologies, promises of change, but I responded only when necessary, plainly and calmly. Understood. I wrote once and left it at that. No explanations, no emotional manipulation, just recognition of reality. Liam remained a shadow in the narrative, irrelevant to the choices I had made. My focus was singular: preserve my dignity, protect my children, and never compromise myself for someone who had already crossed the line. Looking back now, I realize that betrayal doesn't always arrive with fireworks or dramatic confrontation. Sometimes it creeps in silently, in long stretches of indifference, in little lies, in choices made behind your back. And sometimes, the most profound act of courage is not anger or revenge, but quiet acknowledgement and decisive action. The hospital incident crystallized the truth. Forgiveness is optional, respect is non-negotiable, and no amount of family pressure can rewrite the reality of what was done. I sit here today, reflecting on that period, not with hatred, not with vengeance, but with clarity. I have chosen my path deliberately. I am present for my children. I honor the commitments I can control, and I protect myself from the pain of betrayal by refusing to normalize it. Harper remains in recovery. The affair is exposed, and the family's voices urging reconciliation echo faintly in the background. My heart has made its choice. I will not bend it, no matter how persuasive the world tries to be. And in that stillness, in the calm after the storm, I finally understand. Leaving a marriage, not through rage but through clarity, is not a failure. It is a recognition of self-worth, an act of preservation, and ultimately, a step toward reclaiming a life that betrayal had nearly stolen.